Hi, I'm Dylan Holst, and this is World War II. World War II is known as the bloodiest war in world history. According to Schmoop.com, around 70 million people lost their lives. After World War I, Hitler took power to prevent Germany from paying war reparations as stated in the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler's goal was to allow Germans to live better and give them more living space and kill off Jews in the Holocaust. The Great Depression was a worldwide effect after World War I that Hitler didn't feel Germans needed to abide by. The war begins when Germany invades Poland. Right here, there's the Allied and Axis powers. There's a total of 8 Axis powers and around 20 to 30 Allied powers. The Battle of Britain, this was located in England. Hitler wanted a quick end of the war, so he looked to directly attack Britain, which was like the main Allied power. Britain fights back and wins the battle, but suffers through all the damage made. Britain receives aid from the U.S. then through the Lend-Lease Act. Next is Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese to prevent the U.S. from intervening with their actions. According to History.com, around 360 aircrafts attacked Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,300 people. This then is where the U.S. declares war on Japan, which causes other Axis powers to declare war on the U.S. Next is the Battle of the Midway. This battle was the first battle after Pearl Harbor, with the U.S. seeking revenge. It was a major turning point in the war, giving the U.S. more power over Japan and the ability to control the seas better. And around 3,500 deaths occurred. Next is the Battle of Stalingrad. This was a German offense to gain control of the Soviet Union. This was one of the bloodiest battles during the war, with around 2 million deaths. Germany had also lost here as winter began to approach, because they began to die off quicker because they weren't prepared for the winter conditions. D-Day was the Allied offenses on the beaches of Normandy. Hitler sent all of his troops here and still lost the battle. The Americans misled the Germans into when the attack was going to be, so their attack was easier. The Allied powers had around 10,000 casualties, and the Axis had around 4 to 9. Up next is the Battle of the Bulge. This was the last major German offensive of the Allies. This surprise attack only lasted about a month, and it depleted the Germans' numbers. The Germans, being not used to the winter conditions, led to even more death as well. Germany eventually had to surrender later due to lack of troops and remaining land. Finally, Germany surrenders. This surrender brought Germany out of the war completely, but didn't end it completely since we declared war on Japan to start with. The Germans continued to retreat after losing the Battle of the Bulge and lost a lot of land. Hitler then commits suicide, knowing defeat is imminent as Germany surrenders. The Battle of Okinawa was a large American attack on Japanese forces, so the Americans could use the island along with many others as bases. With around 82,000 casualties totaling each side, Okinawa involved a lot of fierce fighting from both sides. This event also directly led to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombings on August 6th and 9th, 1945. This strategy allowed for less U.S. casualties, but for a far more extreme approach by attacking citizens. HistoryNet.com states that firebombings were also used multiple times as well. These attacks forced the withdrawal of Japan and the end of World War II. Finally, the end. After Japan surrenders, the Allies rejoice as Europe lay in ruins. The United States then calls for the Marshall Plan, which helped the reparations of Western Europe and Japan. The end of World War II also sparked the conflict of the Cold War. The Soviets were looking to take over parts of Europe, and America was looking to restore it. This eventually escalated and continued for about 40 to 50 years. Finally, there's my works cited, and does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, what does the bulge in the Battle of the Bulge stand for?
The bulge represents the split line between Eastern and Western Europe. Eastern being Germany and Western being all the countries that were affected.